Hey everybody, it's me, Teri Hunter. It is Thursday, October 24th, 2018. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. And I want to welcome you back to my channel for this week's Messages from Your Angels by Astrological Sign. Before I start the readings, I just want to note that yesterday was a full moon in Taurus. It was conjunct the planet Uranus. So the tagline this week is expect the unexpected in love. Interestingly enough, Venus rules Taurus and Venus is retrograde right now. So many of you may find old lovers, partners, friends coming back out of nowhere, or what seems like nowhere, or you may find yourself thinking a lot about old relationships, or potentially even assessing things that are going on in your life, the things that you value. Venus represents what we value. So you could be looking at your relationship with money. You could be looking at your relationship with your possessions, things like that. So this is kind of a period for that. Anyway, let's just jump into the readings here. Let's start with Aries. Okay, Aries, what do God and the angels have to say for you this week? Okay, our first angel is Opal, the second is Maya, the third is Aurora, and the final is Ariel. Opal represents children, our children being safe on heaven and earth. But for me, as I look at this, Aries, I feel like you've gone through quite a summer. Mars, your ruling planet, was retrograde for all the summer. And I feel like Opal is really talking about enjoying life with a childlike perspective, meaning play, do something frivolous, something silly, something that isn't work related. I have Maya in the opportunity of the obstacle. She's a card of schooling and education, but for me, it's always about my energetic education. And I feel like this is really about the benefits of playtime, benefits of relaxing, the benefits of authentic relaxing. So meaning that you're completely invested in it. You're not wrestling with I'm trying to relax. I can't relax. I've got so much to do, da-da-da-da-da-da. Because Aurora's in the angel's advice, and she's saying that you're flying high right now. Don't descend, because you'll soon inspire others. And I think that inspiration comes from this deeper knowing that the wisdom of playtime is exhibiting faith that you have done all the energetic work that you need to do to go on to the next project, to manifest the next chapter, the next dynamic. Because I have Ariel in the final position, and she's saying that new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view the world. For me, this is very much an exercise in faith, that my being energy is truly aligned to the things that I want, so that I can sit and play and enjoy this downtime without worrying or fretting that, I'm going to run out of resources. I really think it's kind of exciting. And I want to again say, Aries, you've been working so incredibly hard that you will burn out at some level. It becomes counterintuitive to continue to push and push and push. Playtime balances out work time, which makes us more productive. And it will, as Aurora offers, not just inspire others, but inspire yourself into a deeper knowing. Laughter's good for me. Being stupid, no matter how old I am, being silly, having a pillow fight, drinking Kool-Aid, I don't know, whatever you want to do that's childlike and fun. Okay, let's go on to Taurus. So Taurus, this was your full moon, and it was like 0 degrees Taurus. So it really, the first few degrees of Taurus, people that were born and rising sign and moon also may have really felt the effects of this full moon. And when I say the effects, I mean the effects of sort of closing the chapter on things that you may have in some respects valued or thought were so imperative or important in your life, that have now learned or are now starting to take a back seat, or starting to your perspective on these things that you used to think were so important, that were outside of yourself, are becoming less important. And what's happening on the inside believes like it's becoming more important for Taurus. Okay, let's see what the angels have to say. Grace and Antoinette is our first card. The second is Indriel, the third is Patience, and the final is Maya again. Grace and Antoinette is a card of compassion, a card of being able to look at a situation not just from my own perspective, but try to put myself in another person's shoes. It doesn't mean I have to agree with their perspective. It just means that I'm strong enough and trusting enough and feeling faithful in my own opinion enough to be able to actually entertain their opinion, whether I agree with it or not. And it's kind of funny because I was in the market the other day and there was a gentleman on the phone and he was having, political conversation, frustration with his sister-in-law. They had opposing views and he could not get her to listen to him in any way. She had a very dramatic and dynamic way of thinking and she really wanted him to get on board. So the reason I bring that up is because I feel like there's the potential for Taurus that there are people that will have a very different viewpoint of a situation or a dynamic. And your job is not really necessarily to try to convince them of your point of view, but to have compassion for everyone's point of view. I have Indriel, the light worker, and the opportunity or the obstacle. And then I have Patience in the angel's advice. So for me, Indriel is about shining my light. That light is the loving light of God that allows others to be out of alignment, to be out of balance, to not necessarily try to bully them into Taurus, the bull, into how I'm thinking. Because I think by giving the other person your ear, your honest ear, reiterating what you've heard, whether you agree with it or not, I have to make emphasis on that for some reason, because it feels like I don't agree. And I adamantly don't agree. But I want to show up in a way that I would want others to show up for me. Because Patience is a card of gathering information and studying. This is studying energy. Everything out in the world is relationships. Everything is energy. We can say the table is solid, but it is really molecules that are vibrating at a very dense rate that appears solid. Because I've got Patience that is teaching you to gather the information of watching how others, show up, and that compassion you have for them as they are building their case for their point of view and not arguing with them is going to actually serve you in the long run. Because I have Maya here. This is a big week in some respects for Taurians to look at how they are showing up and really choosing whether or not this moment they want to be right for the sake of being right, or if they're willing to give the floor to somebody else, even though they know they're not right or they don't agree. So sounds a little bit challenging, but it doesn't have to be. It's all about perspective. Okay, let's go on to Gemini. Okay, Gemini. All right, Gemini. The first card is Shanti. The second is Ray. The third is Isabella. And the final is Rochelle. So interesting. So Shanti is the angel of peace. But always before peace can come, it's not bestowed upon us. It's not like some fairy godmother comes and drops peace on top of our head. It's really being able to look at where I am in disruption. What is being disruptive? Is my thought process being disruptive? Am I weighing the pros and the cons to an extreme? Because I have Ray in the opportunity or the obstacle, and Ray is a card of meditation, of connecting my truth, of my power of my truth with my heart chakra and my throat chakra, and sending that message up to spirit. And this is sort of a no holds barred kind of thing. This is where the peace, as I allow, and I don't go back and forth with the pros and the cons, the this and the that's, the what ifs and the oh no's, but I just kind of go to how do I feel once this situation, this relationship, this dynamic is where I want it to be. I believe that message, sending that up, is where up to spirit, through rays, through the beam, because Isabella is saying the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. And Rochelle is here saying, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you, Gemini. But that prosperity is not necessarily in cold, hard cash. That prosperity is coming from all the facets of your being able to feel like you're thriving, like you're going the right direction. That's what Shanti is offering you. So when you look down the road ahead. And you, hi Pisces, A69. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so what I was saying is, as you allow the idea that going into the end of the story, going into the dynamic where, hey, Rachel, where you have achieved what it is. And it's not necessarily about the road to achievement. It's what does it feel like when I'm sitting there? That's where your peace is going to come in, Gemini. That's where you're going to be able to feel, okay, this is what happened. This morning, I was in my meditation, and there's a certain thing that I want to manifest very much. And I allowed myself to go. There's a lot of choppy energy right now. I mean, I'm not able to move my story forward by myself. I have to wait for others and co-creation. So I went into my meditation, and I literally brought myself to tears, and they were happy tears, exciting tears, because I could feel at the depths of my bones this dynamic coming into play, and on some level allowing myself the peace of mind of knowing that I've been doing the work, I've been doing the energetic being energy to allow it in, to trust in the guidance of my heart. Because I really believe that, Gemini, this last summer has been rough for you because you've really tried to move the story forward, and I think you may have had stuttering results. And in doing so, each time you thought you were going to break through and get where you needed to go, and then your hopes were slightly dashed. And in that slight dashing, we don't want too much focus going that direction. We just want to say that maybe the dynamics of whatever that wasn't truly aligned to what I wanted. So Spirit was protecting me from a do-over down the line. We had a lot of planets in retrograde during the summer. Okay, let's go on to Cancer. Okay, and remember, guys, when you're listening to these, it's always really important to check your ascendant first. Rachel, you're a Leo ascendant. Then your moon if you're a woman, if you're a man, the sun, and then the opposite. If you're a man, then you go to your moon last, and if you're a woman, you go to your sun sign last, which is counterintuitive to what you read in the newspaper, because they're always telling you your sun sign. Now, there's always the potential that your sun sign and your rising sign are the same. Therefore, you would then feel the effects of that very much stronger. Hello, using my words. Okay, here we go, Cancer. Let's see what Spirit has to say for you this week. Our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Indriel. The third is Shanti. And the final is Merlina. Okay, so Archangel Uriel deals with the energies of frustration, anger, unforgiveness, really where we're kind of chewing on a situation and we just can't get past it. And that's right up in your foundational position. And in some respects, I feel like this is not about avoiding being angry or hurt or frustrated with the situation, but rather allowing yourself to be motivated beyond it. It's very much about using the fire that anger can represent, or anger, you know what I mean, fire, allowing that to spark your creativity. Because I have Indriel in the opportunity or the obstacle, which is the light worker card. But this is about shining my light. This is about remembering what I want for my life. What do I want to experience? What things do I want? Not everybody wants to go scuba diving. Not everybody wants to go skydiving, but there are some people. So as you look at Archangel Uriel and you say, why am I really angry? Am I angry because I didn't get what I thought I wanted? Because maybe your anger isn't really anger at what you think you're angry at. Maybe you're just frustrated because there are bigger things that you want, and there's all these other things getting in the way of that. And then this other situation shows up and you're like, what? Why now? So I really kind of want to say this. Shanti is the angel of peace in the angel's advice. Shining your light is the way. This light looks like this. I love to do this. I love myself when I'm in this energy. Teri, I like to dance. Obviously, I love to work in the angelic realm. Doing readings is my favorite thing in the world. Talking about astrology and spirituality, I could not be happier. So when I indulge myself, Cancer, in the things that I love, and I push out the disruptions on some level, it's not to ignore them, and it's not to say I'm not hurt, but I feel like if I keep pushing up them, I'm just going to sit in the constant of confusion, because whatever is pissing me off right now, there are no answers for it. It's like it's still a piss off in process. I don't even know what that means. Never said that before, but it just feels like the only way to feel that sense of peace is to go into my light, what I love, and to allow spirit to bathe me in that, and then thank them for keeping my focus where I really want to go and not where it's been pissing me off. Okay, Panther, that wasn't the most fun week, but I think it offers a lot of pearls if you take the advice given, which means focus on yourself. Focus on that, not just self-love in that sort of syrupy candy way. I mean, like, hey, man, I got balls and I'm going to take it. I'm going to do what I want to do. And everybody else can just step over, step out, step aside. Because, you know, there's a very, as women, I want to say this, okay? I'm going to say Cancer women, you're ruled by the moon. You represent femininity and motherhood and nurturing. And sometimes when we're in relationships and dynamics where that person becomes an anchor, we're not actually serving them to try to continue to nurture them. We must take care of ourselves. Put the mask on the mommy, not on the baby, in order to save the baby. So allowing whatever the situation is that is frustrating you to, again, step aside while you go in and you go, okay, I'm just going to do me right now, and I'll address that later. And later will present itself, because I think you're going to feel different about it. And I think that difference is going to make you feel better and good. And you may not necessarily want what you thought you wanted. Okay, let's go on to Leo. Here we go, Leo. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. It's my second live stream. So weird. I'm so resistant to technology. I'm going to get myself all scared. And the funniest thing about it is, because I've been scared, I've been doing it twice as long, the hard way around, so stupid. And then I started doing the live streams, and this becomes so much easier. Can't believe it. Okay, here, Leo. First thing is Isaiah. Second angel is Archangel Raphael. The third is Maya. And the final is Grace and Antoinette. Interesting, because Grace and Antoinette has been showing up a lot. Okay, so Isaiah it's time to give birth to new ideas, new situations, new people, new friends, you know, just a whole sort of, what a great time during a Venus retrograde. Venus representing value, representing our self-worth, representing our relationships to our bodies, our things, the things that we love. It's really a great time to really look at that. What do I love, and what do I think I love because it's a habit? Or what do I think I want because it's a habit? Because I have Archangel Raphael in the opportunity or the obstacle. I have Maya in the Angel's Advice, which is about schooling and education, always an energetic education for me, especially when it's in the Angel's Advice. And then I have Grace and Antoinette, because I really want to kind of say here that I think that some of my Leos have been operating in a dynamic where they have been feeling like they wanted something because they've wanted it for so long. But if they really thought about what the dynamics were of what they wanted, do I want it? So let's just say you've been in a relationship and, you know, you've been doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the relationship. Maybe you're the, you know, better with your finances, or you're further along in your career, or you're more demonstrative in your emotions, and you really would like to get more of that back. I think what Spirit is saying is that it's time to really give birth again compassionately to yourself about what you want, what you're getting, and what you're willing, the price you're willing to pay to get it. Because every dream, you know, we think about that inspired thought of the dream, but the road to get there can sometimes be riddled with doubt, with indecision, with confusion, with no light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that it's important for Leos to really, if you don't know what the carrot is, that you're why you're here, why you're in this relationship, why you're in this this job, why you're in whatever the story is, it's important. You need to know that right now, Leo, for yourself, for your own peace of mind. And I think this is where a healing / reconciliation comes in. I don't necessarily think we need to be healed. I don't believe we're broken. I believe we bring in these challenging dynamics to remind us sometimes of who and what we are and what we really want, and how much of ourselves we're giving away to somebody else's agenda. And I think that Grace and Antoinette is asking you to have compassion for yourself and for those that you have co-created these habits with. because they don't realize they're in a habit either. Sometimes we're like, let's just say you've been married to somebody for 10 or 15 years. You guys are in a habit. You're in a flow for sure. And sometimes, let's just say my Leo partner decides to really look at whether the relationship, how am I showing up? Am I feeling loved? Am I feeling appreciated? Am I showing appreciation? Am I showing love? And as you become courageous in that, and you see your energetic dynamic, it doesn't always mean the person on the other side is going to get it. It doesn't always mean they're going to be able to match your awareness or your consciousness. So having compassion during this process for yourself as you go through an awakening, and then allowing yourself to not really put expectation onto the other person, but to say, hey, maybe they'll just get it by me showing up, and sort of, rather than focusing in on how they're responding to this you that's been awakened from this habit, be more conscious of how you're showing up for you. And I think inadvertently that's going to actually give you a huge win. And that's where Archangel Raphael really gets to do his magic. Okay, guys, on to Virgo. Sometimes I don't know what I'm saying when I do this. Really just kind of just comes out of me, like, especially in doing it all straight through, I just seem to get into a flow. It's very different than when I do one-on-ones. Okay. All right, here we go, Virgo. We have Rosetta, Francesca, Mystique, and Layla. All right, my Virgos. First thing I want to say is that right now there is a part of you that is a grown-up, and then there's a part of you that really needs to play to the child right now. There is transition here for you, and that transition is it's funny because as I say that, I felt like I scared Virgo a little bit, like, oh no, what's going to change? I don't know. But it actually feels like something good is going to change. And I don't mean that because we're always changing. I am literally 1 minute older than I was 1 minute ago. So I've changed. Rosetta in the foundational position is a card of having a gift for working with children, teaching, parenting. But as a collective, when I'm talking to potentially thousands of Virgos, I have to say, it's time for you to put down your big girl pants, your big boy pants a little bit, and look at world through the eyes of a child. Because Francesca is saying, what are you visualizing on right now? Because the things, the hurdles, the challenges, the road to hoe, the rock up the hill is not serving you at all. It is creating a denser energy for you, because Mystique is here saying, keep charging ahead. Charge ahead with what you want for you, what you want to be when you grow up. And I mean, every single day, us grown-ups have to choose who we want to be when we grow up. Because Layla is here, and she's my walking meditation. And this is where I literally feel that Spirit is asking you to go outside, Virgo, being an earth sign, connect with the earth, and allow Spirit to bring in animal totems dynamics that you see as you're walking that will remind you that you are being supported in your endeavor, your big endeavor, not the endeavor that makes you feel safe for right now, but the one that's going to make you feel safe as the creators that you are. Yesterday, when I took my dog for his afternoon tinkle, and this has happened twice in the last week, this little red-tailed hawk has just like flown out of bushes and landed like close enough in a tree where I can see the undercarriage of her. I say her, I don't know if it is or not, but I can see all the colors in her feathers. And hawk is a very big totem for me because it reminds me to keep my sight up big. That when I'm in the valley with the boar running mindlessly, nose to butt, and the dust is flying everywhere, I can't see anything through all that fear. But when I pull myself up, I see a bigger picture. That sometimes fear is just an idea about something that may happen down the line that has nothing to do with what's happening right now. And I think that's what Spirit really wants to say to Virgo this week is, let the little girl rock star inside of you rock on, and then allow yourself to put yourself in dynamics and situations that support that. You don't always have to know what the outcome is going to be. You don't have to know, well, if I do this, I'm going to get that. Maybe it's just about, I just really enjoy salsa dancing. So I'm going to go salsa dancing. And then inadvertently, because you did something you enjoy, you meet a great guy, or you meet a new friend or for you because you followed a childlike fun. I really want to go to fun dynamic. Okay, I'm done lecturing. Love you, Virgo. Okay, on to Libra. Here we go, Libra. Thanks, guys, for joining. Okay. All right, Libra. Our first card is Adriana. The second is Fiona. The third is Caressa. And the final is Layla. Same thing as Virgo. Okay, so this is so funny for me. So Libra, and me being a Libra myself, I have been endeavoring to move things forward in my story. Hi, Carly. How are you? Welcome. And I've made some moves. And while I've made those strides towards a new dynamic and a new level of I guess, a platform to be able to join, I've gotten to a place where I no longer can affect anything. I have to sort of wait. And the reason I say that is because Adriana is telling me, and Libra, that they are spirit, our angels are leading us towards the answers to our prayers, to our dreams, to the next chapter, to the next spot. And part of it is our willingness to sit in that knowing when there is no evidence whatsoever, just that kind of deep knowing of, you know what? I think this is going to work out just great. And my confidence is not foolhardy. It's faith. It's coming from a bigger place because I have Fiona here. Fiona talks about, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving that help. When we're not open is when we're micromanaging spirit. How's it going to happen? Please, please let it happen. Oh no, when's it going to happen? When? When is a resistant energy. It's almost as if you take the when out, you're like, it's going to happen. And then whoosh, it happens faster. Because here is Caressa saying you're at the end of a life cycle, that the angels are here to comfort you and give you security as you move on to the next chapter, the next dynamic, the thing that you've been really wanting to move towards and for and to experience. And then again, I have Layla in the final position. She's my walking meditation card. So I'm sort of going to reiterate what I said for Virgo. Yesterday, I was taking the dog for his afternoon tinkle, and this little red tail flew out of the bushes and up into a tree. And this is the second time this week that has happened. And hawk is a huge totem for me to rise above my circumstances, what I can see from my ground position into a position of having faith. Because most of the time when I'm looking at it from the ant's perspective, I can't see anything. And then that triggers fear. Oh, I don't see any results. I don't see any action. I don't see any movement. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. And then I start putting focus there. And that's literally just shuts things down. So when I go with Adriana and I go, oh yeah, I know, I can feel it. I can feel things are moving. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to receive. Thank you, Fiona. And I know that this is going to take me through a certain ending. We had a full moon yesterday, and full moons are, really represent the closing of chapters in some respects, but without a closing, there's never an opening. Everything is duality on some level, night, day, light, dark, happy, sad. All of those things provide us with contrasting experiences that empower us and uplift us. And I think sometimes it's kind of sad. Libra is the planet of partnership. And so often, at least in my neck of the woods, people sort of look at themselves and judge their happiness by whether they've met certain markers that, life markers. Oh, I'm with a partner. Oh, I've got a good job. Oh, I've got a nice car, da, 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 da. But, I really don't think any of those things provide happiness as much happiness as when I have put out an idea of something I want to create, doubted the heck out of myself, and moved forward anyway, and then I won because I did it. And not maybe even that I did it the greatest I could have done it, but I did it at all. And just because I did it, that's the win. So I hope that makes sense. So for Libra, just sort of kind of encapsulate. Adriana is saying, we are leading you towards the answers to your prayers and your dreams. Trust us. Be open to receiving, Fiona is saying, because at some level, it's going to close one chapter and open another. And if you doubt at all, walk around in nature. Look around. Let your eyes stretch out beyond the traffic and into the sky, and you will get confirmation. Okay, let's go into Scorpio. All right, Scorpio. What do the angels have to say for you this week? It's your season. It's your birthday season. Okay, our first angel is Mystique. The second is Yvonne. The third is Indriel. And the final is Archangel Uriel. Okay, so first thing I want to say for Scorpio is that with Mystique in the foundational position and Archangel Uriel in the final position, there feels like you guys have been charging ahead, and you're frustrated because things aren't moving fast enough. Or again, there's no evidence of movement. Mystique really offers something wonderful, because for me, she's kind of like Gloria Estefan's song, Coming Out of the Dark and Into the Light. And the thing that's so beautiful about it is that the charging ahead, the inner knowing, is the thing that is the spookiest. It's the part that's giving you the frustration, but it's also where the big win comes at the end. Because I have Yvonne in the opportunity or the obstacle, and for me, she's a card of vulnerability, being vulnerable to the idea that if I want something, if I endeavor that, if I put my neck out there and I try and I'm willing to fail, that I've already won. Because I have here in Indriel saying to shine your light. I feel like Scorpio has got things in process, that you may be in the middle of, who knows, buying a house and it hasn't quite gotten there yet, or you haven't quite heard back, or there's a stall. There's something that's creating frustration for Scorpio. But I want to say, it's sort of like, I kind of want to go back to Virgo a little bit and say, play a little bit, have some fun, display faith that, you know what, I put my ducks in a row. I've been doing what I need to do. I'm continuing to be the energy I need to be to purport what it is that I want to create. And frustration's only kind of blocking it. And then I'm just not even enjoying my time. So I feel like, Scorpio, give yourself a break. It's your birthday month. Have a little bit of fun. And if you're waiting for results, that's what I feel like it is. I'm waiting for results somehow. Well, if they don't come in, it's time to practice your inner knowing, going, yeah, I think everything's going to be fine. So I'm just going to stay the course. And playtime reflects that you have that trust. Playtime reflects faith. And it's not just sitting on the couch watching a movie, unless that is total playtime for you. I mean something you can actually really enjoy and sink your teeth into and forget adulthood for a minute. Okay, let's go on to Sagittarius. Thanks everybody for joining me. So fun. Okay. All right, Sagittarius. First angel is Merlina. The second is Rosetta. The third is Layla. And the final is Caressa. Okay, well, Sagittarius, it looks like you might be, in a little bit of a pause, in a holding pattern, in no movement just yet. I don't get any frustration with it, but I do get I get a sense that you guys we're kind of like expecting to have more information or have a decision made, and you haven't had any decisions come down, and it doesn't feel like the decision is up to you. So I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I want to go into Sagittarius's professional life more so than your personal life here, because it feels to me like, and again, this is where I get a little verklempt because I know I'm talking to so many potential people, but I feel like there's a dynamic in your personal, not in your personal life, in your professional lives, where you are in the midst of making a move, in the midst of making a change of some kind, and yet there's a stall to it. There's a holding back to it. And I think it's because Spirit is asking you to go into a more childlike dynamic about assessing the situation. If you're making a change and let's just say it is a job, and you're contemplating either a new position within your existing company or branching out somewhere else. I feel like Spirit is really asking you to dig deep and look at your motivations. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because this is something I want to do, or is this I'm doing because I should do it because it's a smart decision for grown-ups? I'm not sure, because I feel like this decision needs to be made on long-term thought, because I've got Layla here in my walking mobile meditation. So there's Spirit trying to give you messages through nature, through God and the angels, because this change is going to take you into a new chapter. And sometimes a new chapter can look very similar to an old chapter if we're not careful, meaning when we're making our decisions, sometimes, we get stuck in that security thing. I always see the Allstate guy going, here, Allstate's going to save you when you crash your car, and Blue Cross is going to save you when, the Claritin messes up your eyeballs and you die, and you take your antidepressant and you want to kill yourself. I mean, the world is so full of conflicting messages. And I really feel like for you, Sagittarius, this is really about you digging deep and pushing out everybody else's plan, idea, thoughts, input. And I know that some of you are married and have children and families and obligations and responsibilities, but responsibilities and obligations are a heck of a lot more fun when we chose them instead of tumbling into them or doing them because somebody thinks that it's going to be smart for us in our future. When I was younger, my parents and one of my first jobs was at Bank of America. Pardon me. But I mean, I never in a million years should work in a bank, okay? But it was going to be good for me, and it was going to give me benefits. It was going to do this for me. And I was like, 6 months later, I was like, the only thing it did for me was get me my first car because I could get a car loan because I worked there. And then I quit. I just don't ever want to do anything on somebody else's agenda anymore. And I feel like as Sagittarius gives themselves permission to really dig deep into what your own agenda is, then you get excited about it, and it just changes the dynamic. And it makes all the doubt worth it. It makes all the hard work worth it. It makes all the whatever frustrations are attached to it worth it. And it sets a great example for those around you. And if more people did the things that they wanted to do versus what they think they should do, there'd be a lot less road rage. That's all I have to say. Okay, let's go on to Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn. First card is Layla. She's showing up a lot today. The second is Archangel Gabriel. The third is Akasha. And the final is Maya. Well, this is very interesting. So Capricorn, Layla is my walking meditation, always says get out in nature and to just, to get a new perspective, to clarify what my own intentions are, and to allow God and the angels to support my thoughts by the things that I see and the things that I hear and the things that I experience in nature. I don't want to get repetitive, but I saw a hawk twice this week. It's a very, very powerful totem for me about fear and about pulling myself above it, because I have Archangel Gabriel here, who is Archangel asking really Capricorn. She talks about not being insecure, and to turn over your insecurities to her. I'm not really getting insecurity. I get trepidation. I get like you're running scenarios about, if I do this, this will happen. If I do that, that'll happen. And it's like almost like it's too much. It almost feels like I'm confusing myself somehow. And I feel like I need to step out. Again, Layla, step out, give myself a little bit of wiggle room to consider things from a different perspective, because you have something to learn about this. Akasha is the spiritual teacher, but in the angel's advice, I really don't think this is about you teaching or counseling others as much as you have something to learn about surrendering insecurity. That, Capricorn, I love you guys. I honestly do. You goats, I just have such an affinity for you. I think I've told you guys before, almost every old boyfriend of mine was a goat. But I think it's something about finding the strength in feeling weak sometimes. I think it's about finding the strength in not having the answer all the time. I think it's about being in the human experience and knowing that there's an ebb and a flow to everything. And, we want to always feel like we know where we're going and how we're getting there. But sometimes we got to wing it, Sometimes we just got to, because I've got here Maya. I think there's something that you guys have to kind of almost remember about the human experience. It's fraught with crap, man. It really is. And we can't always get everything to line up the way we want. And we can see so clearly how it would work out. Great. But it just doesn't mean it's going to do that. There's other people involved. So I feel like a little bit of this is a week for Capricorns to spend some time out in nature, breathe the air, look around, walk along the beach, feel your toes in the sand, and kind of surrender to spirit that you can't do everything by yourself. You can't. So that's that. All right, let's go on to Aquarius. All righty. What is up for Aquarius this week? Whoop. All right. Our first angel is Aurora. The second is Grace and Antoinette. The third is Bridget. And the final is Fiona. Okay. So as I look at this Aquarius, I feel an interesting energy of you being very clear on certain things that you want to do, how you want to get there. And I don't know that everybody around you agrees with you, maybe, or there is a feeling of maybe there's not an outward disagreement about it or resistance to it, but more maybe your trepidation. I read this book years ago called The Dream Giver, and it's about a character named Ordinary who lives in the land of familiar. And in order for Ordinary to facilitate his big dream, he has to go out into the desert of his dreams. And as he reaches the border of the land of familiar and the desert, there are the border bullies in the form of the people who love him, who care, they're worried about him going out into the desert. So they inadvertently bring up all the fears and all the things that could happen that could be bad on the way. And I kind of feel like that might be going on for Aquarius a little bit. I have Grace and Antoinette, which is a card of compassion, of seeing things from another person's point of view. And then I have Bridget asking you to look deeper into the situation. And then I have Fiona in the final position saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. So in your foundational position, which is more in the material world, Aquarius, I have you're flying high right now, don't descend. Your ideas are exciting. And not everybody may understand how you're going to facilitate. You may not even know how you're going to facilitate those dreams, but your ability to sit in them and to feel them and to swim in them a little bit is very powerful, especially this week. And maybe that's the full moon for you. I'm not sure. And having compassion for others as they don't necessarily get your vision, sort of tucking in and, I don't want to be mean, but thinking of those loved ones as paparazzi a little bit, maybe just want to keep them on the outside of the curb for a little while till you get your star going. Because Fiona's here saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And that's the beauty of it for you, Aquarius. You've got an idea. This Aurora offers you, through walking through whatever trepidations you have and getting where you want to go, the opportunity to inspire others. Because as they don't know how you're going to do what you do and you do it anyway, they're going to be like, what? And you're going to be like, well, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew how it felt once I got there. And then I let God and the angels take care of some of the details. And then when they revealed those details to me, I walked through the door fearlessly, even if I was fearful. Okay, let's go on to Pisces. All right, our final sign, my favorite. Well, I shouldn't say my favorite but Lucky's a Pisces. He's a double Pisces, so I always like wrapping up with Pisces. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. Okay, what is up for my little fishies? Okay. First card is Bethany. The second is Archangel Gabriel. The third is Akasha. And the final is Celeste. Well, this is very interesting. Bethany is a card of self-care. She literally says, get a manicure, get a pedicure, take care of you, do something nice for you. And on some level, I kind of agree with the material aspect of doing something nice for yourself, allowing yourself to indulge your physical body in some sort of pampering. But I also want to say this, because when I look at this, I feel like there's other things going on for Pisces as well. There's a shift coming in the way that you think. And I feel like there's the potential right now that Bethany is saying, not just about taking care of your physical body, but taking care of your emotional, spiritual, and your dream body, the body that says, I want more from this life experience. Because Archangel Gabriel's here asking you to release your or surrender your insecurities to her, and also know that you have a very important mission involving communication and the arts. And I want to say this because to me, communication is not just broadcast journalism and painting. To me, that pretty much describes the kind of world we live in. Everything we do is communication these days. Our devices are like dominate us. So there's something very potent for you here, Pisces, as you realize that your self-care, not only in your body, but in your material dream body, and your willingness to step into that, you really do have an opportunity to inadvertently show others the path to awaken their own dreams. This is a revolutionary time for humans because we have reached a level of influence. I mean, I don't know where anybody in the world is. I'm assuming most of you guys are my peeps here in the United States, but you know, this video could reach people all over the world, and therefore the influence has an opportunity for farther reaching, because I have Celeste here, Pisces, and it's about a shift from it talks about a shift from to a new home or a new place of employment. But for me, I think the way I think, and you can put me here in my chair in Laguna Beach, or you can put me in Northern California or in Sydney, Australia. I pretty much am going to think and act on the way that I believe about things. But as I've surrendered my insecurities and really stepped into the idea that the way I communicate with myself has far-reaching tentacles, because the way I communicate with myself is the permissions I give myself. And the permissions I give myself is where I take my action. And then my actions are seen by those out in the world. So displaying that little extra bit of faith in myself, and then allowing myself to actually think maybe something a little bit different. And then I want to say this too for Pisces. I actually do think that there's opportunity for new employment for many of you. And it's weird. I almost want to say it's like an additional something. I know most people don't want to have more than one job, but it almost feels like for Pisces, there may be the potential that you're getting an inkling of something that you've wanted to do, or something that's a little bit exciting, and that you get to taste it a little bit somehow. That's what I think this is about, like a little bit of it. And then that might spawn your motivation to even seek that experience more often. So how can I phrase this in a metaphor? I used to work in Hollywood in the first half of my career, and we used to get interns. And these would be kids that were in college who were wanting to break into Hollywood for whatever reason, actors, to meet people, to get to know people, just to network or swim in an energy. I want to encourage you to do that, because it feels like it's something you would really enjoy. And it does feel like it would help you to appease whatever trepidations you might have about moving into something that seems more fun. You know, I really believe that the way that we're doing business and the way that we are creating our abundance and material security is going to shift from, you know, I got to find a job, I got to have security, I got to have, you know, somebody help me take care of me, to people going, no, I think I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to start. And that's why YouTube is beautiful, because so many people have found a platform here for abundance. And I feel like Pisces, it's your turn to give yourself permission to think broader, to think bigger, to think that as you engage in that thought process, Spirit is really leading you to new experiences. Okay, so that's it for this week, you guys. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. And you can learn more about me, my services, or to book a private session by going to my website at www.terihunter.com. That's TERIHUNTER.com. Or you can text me or call me on my cell phone at 949-903-3385. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll be back next Thursday. See you later.